Welcome to the 2026 Fire Horse Forecast. I'm Sylvia, a physicist turned metaphysicist, and I empower individuals and entrepreneurs to lead their life in a healthy way and with clarity and strategy. And these are the topics that we're going to discuss today. If you haven't taken your astrology chart impression, please do it now. So first, I'm going to walk you over Chinese metaphysics fundamentals, then going into Chinese astrology and the main themes for this year, what each year pillar means in your chart so that you have a better understanding how what I will say about each animal translates into your life. And then at the end, I'll show you how I can support your work with 2026 energy, working with 2026 energy. So first, what is the Chinese metaphysics? Chinese metaphysics is very similar to physics. It's a philosophy that actually it's looking how the world works. What is the framework that that is at the basis of everything? But more than that, it looks also how we as individuals, as people, fit in it. So one of the fundamental percept of it is that they say as above, so below. So basically what happens out in nature happens in us. There's a macrocosm out in the world and we are a microcosm and everything is similar. So the fundamental concepts, they start with yin and yang, right? I'm sure you heard about it. And the examples are day and night and summer and winter out in the world. And then the archetypes are that of a male and female. The archetype of yang is more driven, action-oriented, and the yin archetype is more gentle, is more receptive. And basically the whole world works based on this yin-yang dynamic that that continuously transform into each other. And when this transformation stops, when the cycle stops, basically that means death. So everything is yin and yang. If you want to think of them as a good and bad, it's the same thing. When you are low, you know that something better will come afterwards. Then from yin and yang, we also have the 5 fundamental energies, which are again very earth-centric. There are wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. As you can see, again, very earth-centric, as opposed to the Indian system that you may be familiar with, which have air and ether, which are basically not based on the earth, right? But anyway, that's another topic. I'm happy to talk about that later, about the comparison between the Indian and the Chinese system. So these 5 energies interact based on a very precise algorithm. On the outside, you can see that circle, that's the production cycle. So what you can see there is that water feeds wood, which feeds fire, etc., etc. Then the straight arrows in the middle have to do with what's called the control cycle. Like you can see that water puts out fire and metal cuts wood, right? You know that. So that actually happens also with our internal energies. So another fundamental concept is that of the Cosmic Trinity, consisting of heaven realm, human realm, and earth realm. The heaven realm has to do with the cosmic energies and the destiny. The human realm has to do with our actions. And the earth realm is about the energies of the environment, what's around us. And as you can see, the human realm makes the connection between the heaven and the realm. That's what I try to illustrate with that figure, skinny figure in the middle. So I'm sure that everybody has asked at some point in their life, like, okay, how much control do I have over my life? How much is destiny and how much is free will? And Chinese metaphysics has an answer that appeals to me very much as a scientist because it's very numeric. And it says that it's quantitative, that life is 1/3 destiny and 1/3 free will. That's inspiring, isn't it? I found it very inspiring. So now let's see how that comes about. So it is very democratic. It says that each of these 3 realms contributes 1/3. And then the heaven realm is fixed. But the human realm having to do with it's fixed because that has to do with the moment when you were born, right? You cannot change that. You were born at one moment, that's it. Heaven realm. Human realm, our actions obviously is changeable. And then earth realm has to do with our environment. It's also changeable, right? And so this translates into the fixed realm is destiny. And the changeable human and earth realms have to do with the free will. Inspiring, right? So now let's dig deeper into these three realms. First, the human realm. We have three energetic centers: our head, our chest, and our lower abdomen. And these correspond to our head center. It has to do with wisdom, with the way we make decisions. Our chest has to do with our emotions. It's our heart. It's our love center. And the lower abdomen has to do with our vitality, our willpower. And these need to be they need to be balanced, right? I'm sure that you know people who are always giving and giving and giving, but they have a very hard time receiving. I've seen this around me many times. That is an example of an imbalanced emotional center, imbalanced heart. A balanced heart is equally able to give and to receive. So if we have then these in terms, what these centers give us, the vitality center gives us stamina. When the emotion center is balanced, we can easily navigate change. And the wisdom center gives us clarity in making decisions. And then we have the earth and the heaven realm, which give us grounding and confidence. And then we have the universe realm, which gives us intuition. So the heaven realm and the universe realm, they're often together. It's kind of, they're not that separate. And they're most of the time merge into each other. And the most important part is that we really want to have all these four realms balanced and harmonized, right? So we have the Cosmic Trinity is the basic three realm, but then we have this extra level on top of it. So we have a total of four realms. So now let's see how Chinese metaphysics can help. There are 5 arts of Chinese metaphysics. One is about about energy cultivation. It's called mountain. And that has to do with martial arts and Qigong. In red, I'm showing what I work with. And I'm going to just give you an overview of these arts. And I'm going to talk about these arts later on in more detail. So then we have the art of healing, Chinese medicine, you all know about, and Qigong goes in this category as well. And then we have the art of faith, which includes Chinese astrology, which is of several kinds. The one that I work with is Bazi, and you'll learn about it today, and also Ziwei Doshu. And then we have the art of divination. That is basically like an oracle. You ask questions, you ask for guidance. What can I do when you're in an impasse, when you need to make an important decision? And then the art of physiognomy, which is the art of shapes, right? So Feng Shui is shape in the environment, shapes around us. Face reading has to do with shapes on our face. And palm reading has to do with shapes on our palm. And next, I'll talk about at what level these arts affect us. So we have the three realms. First, we have Chinese astrology that gives us how lucky our life is, or different periods of our life are, our personality, talents, and tendencies. Then we have many arts that apply to our human level. The Chinese medicine and Qigong is all about our health. And then I-Ching and Qimen Dunjia, and I'll explain more about that in a few seconds. It's about empowering to make decisions, which of course lead to our actions. And then the earth is about Feng Shui, and the Feng Shui can affect our health, wealth, and relationships. So let's take this one step further. Oh yeah, because then of course it's the universe level, and that I'm going to talk about. So we have I-Ching and Qimen Dunjia. I-Ching is what some of you I'm sure heard about. It's about the Book of Changes, about the 64 hexagrams. And it's a divination method, and there are cards associated with it. So in times of impasse, you pick a card, and you read and give the answer. I-Ching gives you and see some guidance, and I-Ching gives you very philosophical answers, sometimes hard to decipher. They say that you ask I-Ching and you ask a question and they give you the answer is about what you need, not necessarily about what you asked for. And then we have Qimen Dunjia, which is all about it's very concrete advice. It's art of strategic execution. Some of you have heard of Sun Tzu's Art of War. Originally was used to win battles. And that is used for forecasting for both of them, right? So you have a question and then you're asking for what to do and you get the guidance, and that's really at the universe level. And then Qimen Dunjia in particular is excellent for manifestation. We all know in the Western culture, you do affirmations and, you make your wishes and you have all this, like very powerful. But what Qimen Dunjia gives you is a very strict protocol that adds the right timing and the right direction when to make the manifestations. And this is, as I mentioned before, it's actually even able done consistently and with the strategic intent, you can actually change some very core pieces in your personality that you don't like, and you find that they are not serving you. Okay, so let's take this deeper and see how these arts can help. So we talked about astrology being coming from the heaven and influences our human existence by empowering with some baseline energetic makeup. But in addition, it actually, even though it's fixed and you cannot change it, but you can get a lot of insights from it as you learn today. And then you have the Feng Shui, which is a two-way relationship because you can change your environment and your environment affects your wealth, health, and relationships. And another very important part is that the astrology also has implications on your Feng Shui. So a house can be excellent for some people and not so good for other people. So any kind of Feng Shui analysis has to take into account the astrology chart of the occupants. So this is the topic of today's talk. And actually today I'm going to just talk about the astrology part. And maybe next month or in the very near future, I'm going to have a separate talk about Feng Shui for 2026. That's my plan. And then we have the health piece, the human level, that Qigong is all about harmonizing our three energetic centers that I talked before, and also harmonizing them with the earth and the heaven energy and also the universe. In Qigong, we don't make a very distinct, we don't make a distinction between the heaven and the universal energies. It's all together. It's all about aligning. And this is something that is like medicine that you can handle and you can do every day, right? Chinese medicine also affects your health, but you normally go to an acupuncture session when there's something wrong with you, and you can also go preventively because illnesses show up in your energetic body before they show up in the physical body. But Qigong is really very powerful. Personally, it changed my life when I learned Qigong. So that is something that it's much cheaper and you can do every day on your own. And then again, at the decision level, we have Qimen Dunjia and I-Ching that harmonize all four realms. Okay, so now on to, this is the fundamentals part that's done now, and we're going to the specific topic of the day, the astrology chart forecast for the fire horse year.